Hi, and welcome to the second hour of Focal Point on AFR Talk. Just want to mention again the premiere of the movie God's Not Dead premieres nationwide this Friday night. This is Wednesday, so on Friday this is going to premiere nationwide. We had the star of the movie, Kevin Sorbo, along with the producer, David White, on this program on Monday to talk about it. This is a family-friendly movie, but it's also a truth-filled movie. It's a story about a freshman in college who finds the courage to stand up in class against his atheist professor. And you follow the process as he stands up against this professor, begins to engage him, and to stand for his faith and to stand against the atheism of his professor. God's Not Dead starts on March 21st. You can go to godsnotdeadthemovie.com for more information. Find a theater near you. So go to godsnotdeadthemovie.com. Even got a cameo appearance from Willie and Corey Robinson from Duck Dynasty. It takes a larger look at the anti-theism, the anti-God agenda that's being promoted in our schools and in our universities, and I believe will be a catalyst to encourage students to imitate the example of the main student in the movie and stand up for their faith in a similar way. 888-589-8840 is the number to call to join the program today. I don't know if you heard this story, but it gives you an idea of just how out of control the EPA is, Environmental Protection Agency. By the way, we have Richard Nixon to thank for the EPA. He's the one that created it. It was on his watch that it was created. And it's like a lot of these government programs, I have no idea what the original intention of it was, came into being in 1973. And it probably was fairly limited in scope and design, and Congress probably had some pretty tight controls on it. It's just gotten completely out of control. It's like every government program. Anytime there's a government program that is being proposed, you have to ask yourself the question, if this thing is brought into being and is funded, what is the worst thing that could possibly happen? Because it will. The point is, it will. You know, Ronald Reagan said there's nothing on earth that resembles eternal life so much as a government program. You can't kill it. You can't defund it. You can't stomp it out. It just goes on forever and ever. And the EPA has grown like that without any statutory authority whatsoever. And I've seen this in Idaho. I've worked with individuals in Idaho back when I was running a pro-family organization there that got in the crosshairs of the EPA. This is a story about a guy by the name of Andy Johnson. He lives in Wyoming. He's a rancher. He's got 8 acres of property. All he wanted to do, according to Fox News, was build a stock pond on his sprawling 8-acre Wyoming farm. He and his wife, Katie, spent hours constructing it, filling it with crystal clear water, bringing in brook and brown trout, ducks, and geese. It was a place where his horses could drink and graze, and a private playground for his 3 children. But instead of enjoying the fruits of his labor, the Wyoming welder says he was harangued by the federal government, stuck in what he calls a petty power play by the Environmental Protection Agency. The agency is now threatening him with civil and criminal penalties, including the threat of a $75,000 a day fine. Now, he and his wife built this pond together. They put their blood, they put their sweat, they put their tears into this, and the EPA is saying he is violating the Clean Water Act. Now, the Clean Water Act, this was the same situation I dealt with in Idaho. The Clean Water Act is specifically designed to deal with the navigable waters of the United States. The navigable waters of the United States. In other words, it only controls those moving bodies of water where you can put a boat in and you can get to another place. You can travel from where you start, where you put in, and you can navigate. You can go places. You can travel tributaries to rivers, to bigger rivers, and you can get to wherever you want to go. It was never designed to control something like a stock pond on private property. That was never its intention. No constitutional, congressional, statutory authority for this whatsoever. And he actually followed the state rules, the rules of the state of Wyoming. And in 2012, he's got a letter dated April 4, 2012, from the Wyoming State Engineer's Office proving that he followed the state rules for building a stock pond when he built it in 2012. This is what the letter says. Said permit is in good standing and is entitled to be exercised exactly as permitted. So once again, you got this heavy-handed bureaucracy, EPA acting as tyrants without any constitutional warrant whatsoever. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this piece by Matt Ridley. Cal Beisner drew it to my attention today on his weekly update, CornwallAlliance.org, that if global warming was happening, and it's not, global warming, there has been no global warming in 17 years and 6 months. NASA's satellites have confirmed that. But Matt Ridley's point was if global warming was occurring, it would be good. It would not be bad for the planet. He's got a 4-page piece here. I'll just give you some of the highlights. He says the overall effect of global warming is positive today and likely to stay positive until at least the year 2080. This is the conclusion of Professor Richard Toll of Sussex University after he reviewed 14 different studies of the effects of future climate and temperature trends. Climate change or global warming would be beneficial up to 2.2 degrees centigrade of warming starting in 2009. So you go up to, if it gets 2.2 degrees warmer by 2080 or sometime in the century, up to that point, it is all good. And remember, there's been no global warming. In fact, the latest indication over the last 2 decades is global temperatures have actually been declining. We are very likely heading into an extended period of global cooling. But this writer says, look, even if it was warming, it would be good, up to 2.2 degrees centigrade. And he points out that global warming, increasing global temperatures over the past century have improved human welfare. A 1.4% growth in global economic output. This can mean the difference between survival and starvation for some people. And listen to this. Here are the chief benefits of global warming. Fewer winter deaths. Cold kills far more people than heat, so fewer people are going to die from weather-related events if the globe warms. There will be lower energy costs. That'll be good. People won't freeze to death in their homes as often. Better agricultural yields, longer growing seasons, warmer temperatures, better yields, fewer droughts, richer biodiversity. You know, winter deaths exceed summer deaths. Mortality rates in Britain and Greece rise 18% every winter. So the milder the winter, the more people survive, the more people live, because cold and not heat is the biggest killer. For the last decade in Britain, people have been dying from the cold at an average rate of 29,000 excess deaths each winter. That is, deaths that are caused by the cold. Compare this to the heat wave 10 years ago. Man, everybody talking about that heat wave. And 15,000 people total in France died, 2,000 in Britain, and that's all the media wanted to talk about incessantly. But his point is, in Britain, 29,000 people every year die from the cold, so global warming will be good. You'll also have this CO2 that's being pumped into the environment. That is good for humanity because CO2 is not pollution, it is plant food. That's what plants use to make carbohydrates and proteins and fats. And the increase in average carbon dioxide levels over the past century has had a measurable impact on plant growth rates, probably a 14% increase in productivity of ecosystems has been observed in all vegetation types. So in other words, if we are headed for global warming, he says, bring it on. It will be good for everybody. More agricultural yields, fewer people dying from the cold. Focal Point and AFR Talk. Be right back.